Welcome to A Fistful of Lenses, the home of real-world lens reviews. This video is part of the legendary Vintage Lens series. In this episode, we'll be taking a closer look at the Minolta PF 58mm f1.4 lens. This is a vintage lens from 1969. So what was happening in the world in 1969? Well, let's take a little trip down memory lane. Richard Nixon has become President of the United States. Neil Armstrong became the first man to walk on the moon. And the Austin Morris 1100 was the most popular car in Great Britain. And Mick Jagger was known to make some very odd facial expressions. I don't know why. Maybe it was a phase he was going through. While all that was happening, Minolta was a key player in the SLR world, with a rich history going back to 1929. These early Minolta lenses had magnesium fluoride and other ingredients added to the glass to improve light transmission, retain contrast, and reduce flare. I've taken a series of still images and video with this lens to explore the character, strengths, and weaknesses of this 50-plus-year-old lens design. And as always, these will be unedited, straight out of camera, as I don't want to disguise the character or the flaws of this vintage lens. I'll be using the Fuji X-T1 and the Sony A7R Mark III. So let's get started. To begin, we have a few images taken with the Fuji X-T1. When stopped down to f8 or more, it gives a razor sharp image. And here we have a few black and whites taken with the Sony A7R Mark III. And for colour, the Minolta doesn't disappoint. Like many of the vintage lenses I've tested, it seems to produce beautiful pastel colours with delicate shades of green, yellow and blue. This, I believe, is a real strength of vintage lenses. They are capable of producing beautifully artistic looking images. Yes, it's true, they may not be the sharpest or technically perfect lenses ever produced, but it doesn't really matter. They are able to lift your image from a mere record of what you see to something extra. In short, they add to your photos some soul. It can be a challenge to get acceptable results when shooting the lens at its maximum aperture of f1.4. You're dealing with razor thin depth of field, manual focus, and a lens that's not as sharp as the best of modern optics. But every now and again, you catch a little bit of magic. Of course, this is a 55-year-old lens design, and it has its weaknesses. Catch the light at the wrong angle and it can flare quite ugly, as seen here in this photo. But this can be mitigated simply by using a lens hood. To conclude, the Minolta PF 58mm f1.4 lens is a lens that oozes character. and I can see why many modern Hollywood blockbusters with hundreds of millions in their budgets are using rehoused vintage lenses. These lenses are just a little different. They give a certain feel to your images and your video. Yes, they can be a challenge to use. Manual focus is something that needs practice, and the minolta can flare in an unattractive way on times. Personally, I'd rather get one image that I love to 100 and leave me cold. So the minolta PF 58mm f1.4 lens gets my seal of approval. If you see one, snap it up, as these are only becoming scarcer as time goes on. For myself, I'm looking forward to developing a close understanding of the strengths and weaknesses of this old classic. And who knows, whilst out there, you may see me in the real world snapping away happily with my minolta PF 58mm f1.4 lens. Until next time, bye for now.